Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Books and Beauty. My name is Tori. Ignore my face. I was watching some TikTok videos that were making me cry, but they were happy cries. But anywho, as you can see from the title, we are reviewing another book by Lynn Rhys. So the two books that I read that were in the Darkwood Academy series made me want to read something else of hers, and so I read this one. It's called Safe With Me, and this is a standalone. I'm just gonna read this. I ran from a monster I thought was gentle and kind, a monster I thought loved me. I was wrong, so very wrong. I took a bus out west and landed in a small town in Wyoming. Riker, the town sheriff, has been helping me to settle in, but I can't get that comfortable even if things seem quiet around here. I'll keep looking over my shoulder no matter how safe Riker thinks he can keep me. I know the monster is waiting in the shadows. And then this book does have a trigger warning. This book contains strong subject matter that may not be suitable for all readers. The topics in this book involve domestic violence, abuse, sexual abuse, profanity, and sexual situations. Reader discretion is advised. And when I say with Lynn Rhys, don't take your triggers lightly, do not take your triggers lightly at all, ever. This book was really good. I read it in a day, per usual. I have a problem. But today is Christmas. Today marks 200 straight days of reading for the year. I'm actually 12 books away from 100. I don't know if I'm gonna make it all the way to 200 before the year is up, but the way I've been reading, it's very possible. But anywho, this book, it was really freaking good. Aside from, like, this year was like my first time getting into, like, getting deep into romance books, or like, especially like dark romance books. And I feel like that's where I'm comfortable in my dark romance, because I feel like this book is a book that I would have ran away from before I started getting into the romance books, because like I used to like, romance book used to just make me like squeamish and like make me want to vomit, because they would just be so blah, like just too romancy or something like that. But like this book, it was so good. I'm definitely doing 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. I like the way that it started, like with the prologue. Like I feel like what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't take long for the story to start. Like lately, I've been impatient when I've started reading books. Like I'll just want those interactions between the love interests to take place like immediately. Like forget all the build up and the lead up. And I know that's dumb, but that's just me. I've been impatient lately. I don't know why. But like with this, there's no waiting, you know, and I really do like that. So, oh man, so like the prologue, we have that the scene with Nicole, that's the main character, and her raggedy ass fiance Mitch. And as you can tell from like the trigger warnings, there's domestic violence and abuse in there and all of that stuff. So basically, we already know who the abuser is. It's Mitch. Complete asshole. I was very happy that like that was the prologue and she immediately runs. So I was happy that we didn't have to like read about her just dwelling in that situation. And when she meets Riker, let me tell you something. I love Riker. He's he's comforting. He's hilarious with his dad jokes. Like, I loved him immediately. Like, love, love, love. He was perfect the entire time. Not the entire time, but he was perfect. And like, in real life, if you were to go to a town and the sheriff just automatically is like trying to help you, and he's like, yeah, you can stay in my house, you can work on my family's farm, yada yada yada. Like, first of all, that would terrify me in real life, because I'm like, we don't even know each other, you're just gonna trust me to live in your house and work on your farm and all of this shit. But it's a book, so we're letting all of that slide. But in real life, I probably would have been moving on to the next town. But yeah, no, it was adorable, like how immediately he wanted to get to know her and protect her and all that. Like, it was just quick. Like, he said, like, I saw her and that was it. So like, it was really freaking adorable. I was glad that she actually, you know, took him up on his offer and all that stuff, because she needed it. Everyone in the town was just, you know, super nice to her, and she really freaking needed that. Now, you know, when she got comfortable and all that good stuff, and then, like, I already knew when Brett showed up in the diner, when she said he sticks out, he's dressed in a suit and he has on like an expensive watch. I was like, he's working for Mitch. I already knew. And then especially the way that he kept saying her name, because by this time she's going by Zoe, and it was I just knew that he was working for Mitch, because it was just weird, especially when she's like, oh, where are you from? And he said New York. I'm like, girl, run now, run immediately. And she did. Well, wait, was that the first time? Which time? I don't know, but she already knew something was up. But like, what was the other cop's name? McCormick. He was such a fucking asshole, because he just immediately doubted every fucking thing about her. I'm like, stop being an asshole. Like, he didn't want to believe anything that was going on. His words was just, she's crazy. She's a sandwich short of a picnic. Just loco. I didn't like him. But Johnson, Deputy Johnson, he seemed so nice and cool in the beginning and everything. And, you know, he seemed like an all-around nice guy, you know? Like everyone did, except for McCormick, because I didn't like him. But the build-up with Zoe and Riker, I felt like it was moving fast. But I guess when you spend so much time with someone, like, the concept of time doesn't really matter. So like, them hanging out and all that build up and everything, it was perfect. They were so cute. I loved it. And I loved when he called her darling. It was just so cute. Like, I love them. But when the shit started happening on the farm, I'm gonna tell you, I thought that it was Brett. Deadass. I thought that it was Brett. And you know, this book gave me, like, if you ever watched the movie with Jennifer Lopez called Enough, when she married the guy she thought was the man of her dreams, and you know, they had a baby and everything, and then she found out that he was cheating, and then that was when he became abusive, and she took her daughter and they ran, and they were just constantly on go. And you remember at one point in the movie where he sent one of his cop friends after her. you know? And so that was totally giving me enough vibes, because I'm like, this shit sounds hella familiar. I'm like, it sounds hella familiar. Like, that's what it was giving me. And so the whole time that the shit was happening on the farm with the chickens, with the cattle getting loose, and then I feel like it was something else, and then with the store burning down. First of all, I already knew that the store was gonna burn down the moment Riker was like, "Oh yeah, we have this space heater here. Just make sure you unplug it." I was like, the store is gonna burn down. But like, I 100% thought 100% thought that it was Brett doing all of that shit to fuck with her, to have everyone doubt her, because she's like, no, I know for a fact that, you know, I did what I was supposed to do, you know. And then when she's like, no, like when was it Joan from the diner asked her, did she take the deposit to the bank? She's like, yes, I did, like I do every other time. And it was like, well, they're saying that they didn't get it and blah blah blah. And it's getting to the point where she's starting to doubt herself. I was like, fuck, man. And then it pissed me off because, like, Riker, like, he had his FBI buddy look into Zoe because he sent off her fucking DNA, which was just major invasion of privacy. But he went behind her back and sent off her DNA to his FBI friend so he could gather more information. And the information he got back was that she was actually Allison, was it Allison Davis or something like that? Yeah, Allison Davis. And when he confronts her with this information, she's like flabbergasted. She's like, I don't know who that is. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But he's not listening to her. He's like, this is the information that the FBI got. Like, my FBI friend got this information. You're actually Allison Davis, and you were adopted by the Moores, and you ran away because you didn't want to get married. And I get, like, she had, like, apparently, like, the information in the folder said that she had, like, mental health issues and that she didn't want to be committed again. And it really pissed me off because I'm like, considering that the guy that you know so well is in the FBI and he gave you that information, of course you're gonna believe what's in the folder. But it's like, you have to remember, when she got there, she had cuts and bruises on her face and neck, and she didn't actually want to stay at the ranch with you. She didn't want to do all of that. She didn't want any handouts or anything like that. You know, the fact that she was actually having nightmares about everything. But he got that information and he started doubting her. And that was when I didn't like Riker. Like, he straight up, like, he didn't want to listen to anything. And he was just like, pack your shit and just get out, leave. I was heartbroken because I'm like, what the fuck? But like, when he mentioned mental health issues, like, for a second, I was like, does she? I'm thinking to myself, did Mitch beat her so hard that, like, she, I don't know, get amnesia, come up with, you know, some other type of identity or something like that? Like, I was confused for a moment, but I had to remember that, like, in the beginning of the book, she said that Mitch has connections with law enforcement and government. And I'm like, that right there told me all I needed to know. I'm like, he had someone set that information up. He had someone do all of that for that to show up, just in case. It was raggedy. So, like, no, when Riker told her to leave, I was pissed because I was like, Mitch is gonna find her. Mitch is gonna find her and he's gonna try to kill her. What I was not expecting was when Riker left out of the diner to go grab his phone because he left it at the station, was for him to overhear a phone conversation, and for that phone conversation to be Deputy Johnson's. I wasn't expecting that, let me tell you. I love unexpected things. I love twists. And that was a fucking plot twist. I was like, what? Johnson was the one doing all this shit on the farm? Are you serious? Like, I had so much trust and belief in Johnson. So I felt like Riker when he found that shit out. I was hurt. I'm like, how fucking dare you? Like, shenanigans. So now, like, finding out that he was he was bribed to do all that shit on the ranch to get Zoe, aka Nicole, aka Allison, away from Riker so that she would go back to Mitch. Like, it was just I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, by the time Riker has found this out, he's like, fuck, I already told her to leave, get out. He's like, fuck, Mitch is gonna find her. So like, he races back to the station to grab his phone, reads the message that she had sent him the day before, where she basically told him that she loved him. And he's like, fuck. And that's when he calls his FBI friend again, and he's just like, there's something not right about the information, blah blah blah. And they find out that Mitch had a guy, Brett, or was it Brett, or was this another guy? I don't remember. But he had someone change the information in the system, and then it came to find out that Mitch's family was behind a criminal adoption ring. Basically, they were like stealing people's babies, and Zoe, aka Nicole, aka Allison, was one of those babies, and basically she would be the one to crack that case wide open. So at this point, Zoe is in the next town over, trying to figure out where she's gonna go, and she's chilling in the hotel room just for someone to start banging on the door, and she gets up. She's like, what the fuck? Mitch is on the other side of the door, and she grabs her phone, and she's like trying to figure out what she's about to do, but he gets into the room, and I'm like, fuck. And he's trying to like be sweet at first, like, I love you, let me show you how much I love you, just come home with me, blah blah blah. And she's like, no, never loved you. Or not never loved you, but she's like, I don't love you anymore, and all this other shit. And like, Riker, he's made it to the next town. First place he goes is the diner. He's like, hey, have you seen this girl? And they're like, yeah, she was in here a little while ago, but she said she had never met you. And he's like, fuck. So he's like, which way did she go? They're like, we saw her walk in the direction of the general store. So he runs to the general store. He's like, hey, have you seen this girl? She's like, yeah, she was in here. Do you know where she's staying? She's staying down at the motel, blah blah blah. And of course he gets there, and he has to go in there to talk to the front desk guy. And at this whole time, I'm like, you're wasting too much time. Even though I know that he made it in time, but I'm like, you're wasting too much time. But, you know, the guy tells him which room, and that's when he gets to the room, and he's able to save Zoe, because fucking Mitch, first of all, he had a syringe in his hand, and I don't know what the fuck he planned on doing with that. Like, you were really just gonna drug her and take her with you, or like, what the fuck? But yeah, Mitch and Riker get into a fist fight, and he knocks Riker out momentarily, Zoe grabs the gun and she has it pointed at Mitch and she's getting ready to shoot, but then Riker gets up and ends up shooting and killing him, thank God. You know, this book gave me Lifetime movie vibes. It gave me Lifetime movie vibes. And it's so funny because, like, me and my sister, we talk about Lifetime movies because we're like, they always end the same way. We're like, Lifetime movies always end with the antagonist either getting shot or getting stabbed. It was like, that's how it always goes. Like, the last 5 to 10 minutes of the movie is someone with a knife or a gun, and that person is going to end up shot or stabbed. So this gave me Lifetime movie vibes, but in a good way. So Mitch getting shot, period. It ended in a really great way, you know, like Riker immediately he took her back home with him, and he's like, no, we're gonna sleep right now, we could talk about this shit tomorrow, just go to sleep. And they went to sleep next to each other, period. But, you know, she talks about how she found out, you know, everything about her birth mom, and that shit was really fucked up. It, like, nothing that happened to her was fair at all. Like, it was really fucked up. But it was one of those things where you're like, I really don't like the phrase everything happens for a reason. I really don't fucking like that phrase. But in this book, I want to say everything happens for a reason, because I'm like, if things hadn't played out the way that they did, then she never would have met Riker, you know? So it's like, I get it, but I really hate that phrase. But, you know, it worked out for the best. His proposal to her, adorable. I was already expecting it. It was perfect. But this was a really good book. I'm trying to get in the habit of reading more standalones, because I've been jumping from series to series lately, because some of these series end up being like so overwhelming that I have to take a break and go read something else. But I really did love this book. Like I said, I'm giving it 5 out of 5. It was great. I enjoyed it. There's a crap ton of other books that I need to review, so hopefully with these next 2 weeks that I have off, I can get some of those done. But for now, I'm gonna go. It's Christmas. I have to go spend time with family. But thank you again for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the last couple of videos. Make sure you like and subscribe. Send me book recommendations, or don't, because my TBR is a little heinous right now, but send me book recommendations. I'd love them. But I'm gonna go now. But thank you again for watching. I will see you guys later. Bye.